My main goal is to blow up.
And then act like I don't know nobody.
Welcome back to another video. We are here to talk about 10 things I dislike about a Lexus, my IS250. Let's get this thing turned on. Y'all saw that little steering wheel shimmy? I don't know what that was about. Anyway, the things that I have on this list are in no given specific order. There are a couple things that relates to my build of this car and not the car itself. Now, to start things off, the very first thing I do not like about this car is slow. Car is slower than... It's ridiculous. Now, anybody who buys this car, you know that the car is going to be slow. That's a no-brainer. Nobody buys this car because it's fast, I promise. But how slow it is, it's not even funny. And the number one thing that I hate hearing it, I hate seeing it anywhere. When people say, oh, why didn't you get a 350? You could just sell this and get a good... Guys, I promise you, nobody in their right mind consciously makes the decision to buy a 250 and not look for a faster car. Unless, one, you didn't know the 350 existed. And two, you don't have enough money for the 350. Those are the only reasons anybody would get a 250. Let's be real. Who's buying a 250 if you have enough money for a ISF or a 350? Come on now, let's be real. Keep it a bean. Like, I'm sure if money just grew on trees like these trees around me, if all of these leaves were money, I'll literally just go to a Lexus dealership or any dealer. I'll go to Facebook Marketplace and get me an ISF for like $35,000. Yeah, no problem.
Oh God, no cap.
Hell, the nearest IS350 that I saw before I bought this car was $17,000. Guys, that was for a 2 IS. That's for the same year. 2 IS350 costs at least $18,000. Come on now, bro. Do y'all remember what I got this car for? I got this car for $8,300. You can't beat that. And that was while inflation was booming, guys. Like, let's be real. You're not finding a 350 remotely close to that price. Moving on to the next one, the cheap center console.
Garbage.
Now, I'm not going to show you guys my center console because I need to clean my car. But we're going to use our imagination. There is I'm going to show you this part right here. There's a center rest right here. Obviously, it's not here right now. That's because the second I bought the car, guys, not even like 3 hours after buying the car, I sat down and I leaned this way. I did that. Here's my arm. I elbowed the center console completely off of its resting mount and it snapped off. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I lift.
I lift.
I'm not a strong guy, but I lift. You know what I'm saying? This next one is partially my own doing, but also from the car itself. There are random vibrations from the car that I don't like. And it's not like mechanical. It's not from the engine. It's not from the transmission or the diff in the back. It's the plastics. And then it's also partially from having a gutted interior. All the vibrations are magnified. And the plastics will vibrate. We have this little cubby down here. It vibrates when I'm going around highway speeds. We have this part right here that likes to vibrate, and this isn't really like fitting perfectly like it's supposed to. That vibrates. The mirrors sometimes vibrate. The sunroof up here, once it's vented, that also vibrates. It's a lot of vibrations, guys. The next one are the brakes. The brakes are so garbage.
Garbage.
Oh my gosh, they're garbage. But also could be from my own doing and partially because I beat on this thing and they need to just be replaced. And this car has been, again, repossessed from his last owner and also abandoned. So a lot of the things haven't been like retouched and dialed in appropriately since I've gotten the car yet, and these are things that I'm working around. I'm just trying to get the big ticket items out the way first. But yeah, I'm definitely looking into some brake kits. I think the site I'm looking on is R1. I don't know if that's the right site or not, but I'm pretty sure they have some slotted rotors and some brake pads and calipers at like some pretty good prices. I'm gonna check them out. Next thing on the list, this cup holder. There's only one cup holder around like this. They got these little slots right here that like implies you could put a water bottle or something there, but there's only one cup holder right here. And with that being said, there's only one cup holder in my car now because I took out my back seats. There's nothing there. And that was like, there's nothing but like my stuff right there right now. And I gotta clean all of that out so we can like do another video and go in detail. But I don't even like the positioning of this, because when I have stuff here and I'm driving and I have to shift this back, I have to hold my hand like over like this. I have to grab it like I'm grabbing a baseball off the field. It's not fun. Terrible positioning of the cup holder. But stuff like that don't really matter to me because I rarely have drinks in here anyway. That's just me being like little meticulous things that don't really matter. Now, something that do get on my nerves, because if you just saw my back seats, there's no storage space in here. This is a storage space that this barely opens. It's not that big. It's the same on that side. This is a lot of storage space now that I elbowed the freaking rest off. The glove compartment is not that big. There's a coin slot with that in there. And they have, of course, the pockets behind the seats. That's all you're going to get in this car, basically. There are no compartments on the rear doors. There's a compartment on the cup holder in the back seats, but it has like this little slide thing, and you could probably put 3 napkins in there, and it's going to be full. You know, it's not a lot of storage space in here. So don't think this is a car that you could just put all your kids in and just have a bunch of space for it. No, it's going to look the same as like my car right now. That's the last time I'm gonna pan back there because I know I'm gonna get some comments. All right, the car is warmed up. We about to roll up out of here. Look at that dog. Y'all see that dog? Now this next one, guys, all the other ones before were not that big of an issue. All these other ones are ones that I like dislike about this car for real. These paddles don't work. I don't get it. Now, all the other IS350, 250, ISF videos I see with people using paddle shifters, they work and they work how they're supposed to. You let the RPM rev out, you shift it, and it shifts. When I do it, I shift it around like 6,000. I don't even let it get to red line because this car isn't tuned yet. I wanted to do it while it's tuned so I could get all the way up to like 72,000 or whatever. 72,000. 7,200. Anyway, however, the car likes to shift it regardless if you're in sports mode or not. You can shift that thing over to sports mode and you have all the paddle work and you think you're doing in the work. It's not. And I think that's also because of the car being like let go for so long. So it's not really dialed in that regard either. So for example, one time I'm driving down the speed, I'm driving down the highway and I'm trying to ride and cruise with my friends and I try to downshift. Now the car recognizes I'm pulling the paddle and it downshifts, but it doesn't do it immediately. Like it takes 2 seconds for the car to register that I'm downshifting. Now 2 seconds when you're downshifting is a long time, guys. And when you're upshifting, it's even longer. Most IS owners know if you try to upshift and it takes 2 seconds to do that, you're hanging on the rev limiter. That's not what we want. A, that's bad for your car. Second, you're losing races. And nobody wants that. Now, when I'm trying to shift up, the car will literally shift itself before I can even put my hand on the paddle shifter. That part to me is like unnerving. It's just like, why are you doing this? You're driving yourself, or are you gonna let me drive? Because it's in sports mode. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to let me shift it, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't let me do that at all. Now, I don't know if it's because it needs a tune or it needs to be recalibrated, or if it's just simply broken and messed up. But what I do now, I literally just take it, I hold this down until everything is off, and I press it in power. Now, I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, so now the vehicle stability control is off. So I just drive like that now. And with the power shifting on, it just shifts when I want it to shift without me having to use the paddles. And it rides all the way out. Here's a good example. What I like about this so much is that it stays in gear. Whatever gear it's in, it stays in gear. I think it's in 4th. So if I step on the pedal right now, it's gonna go into 3rd. That person was really close to me. I think he wants smoke. I don't know what's wrong with him. You're in an Impala, bro. He must like my car. But yeah, that's my substitute for using the paddle shifters, because these don't really work yet. So I'm hoping when I get the car tuned, I can use the paddle shifters more, because I'm actually tired of beating on the transmission the way I do. And that is just a headache of its own. But next, another major thing that I dislike about this car is the soft steering. The steering in this car is very soft, and there are upgrades for that. All of these problems have upgrades, by the way, guys. But you have to get these upgrades to fix all of this, because I really hate the steering on this car. Whenever I'm trying to corner and I'm trying to make hard turns, it takes a lot for this thing to turn. Sometimes it feels like a boat for real. And I'm just like, bro, this car, I feel how much lighter the car is since I've taken like the little weight reduction I've done. But there's no way that this car should still be this hard to steer sometimes. And that's simply because the steering is so soft. Now, granted, when you're up to speed, it tenses up a little bit. But RR Racing also have like some upgrades, and some other companies have steering upgrades. They have bushings that tighten the steering up. But that to me is like essential to have in this car, to make it have more of like a track feel. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. Probably the last major thing to speak about the performance aspect of this car that I dislike is this thing has an open diff, and it's the worst thing on the planet. This car causes all types of understeer, and the cornering in this car is terrible sometimes. Even with the coilovers help out a lot, but the open diff will always fight you when you're trying to make these hard turns. Last thing on the list is the dash cluster, the gauge cluster right here. The lights randomly cut out, and so will the stereo. The stereo will randomly just turn off, and it will not turn on for like a long period of time, and you'll never know why. Like, I have yet to figure out why that has ever happened. Now it works now, it will turn back on eventually, but after like so long, it'll just turn off and it won't turn back on. Anyway, that's gonna be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sure this video is like just like every other video. However, you know, one more doesn't hurt. One more perspective doesn't kill anybody, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll probably say something nobody else has. You never know. However, those are all the things that I dislike about this car. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because this car is amazing. This car is really reliable. There are some issues I didn't speak about that I will speak on later, because I have seen comments about it. And there are some things that I will address with this car because I've seen some really valid comments about switching to a 350 and transmission issues with the car and power mods. Some things aren't really worth it for this car, but to me, they are, because we're trying to get this build as max effort as possible before we switch over to a 350. So we can see the comparison, because, you know, everybody don't have enough to get a 350. You know what I'm saying? And IS 350s in today's economy are so expensive. Like, I can literally go get a Gen 1 Coyote if I wanted to. I can get a first gen Coyote Mustang and spend the same amount of money. But my homie T is here. That's another video. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, checking out the channel, clicking on the video. I hope you all have a nice, blessed day. Y'all be safe out in these streets. Drive safe. Don't drive slow, though. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.